The Cell Saga was the most important arc for the character of Gohan because it was the arc that he really came into his own. Not just by unlocking the power of a Super Saiyan, but going further beyond to discover what would be known as Super Saiyan 2. But the future timeline variant of Gohan, the other Gohans besides the one that we saw who became a Super Saiyan by training with Goku in the Room of Spirit and Time, how did the other Gohans become Super Saiyan if there was no Goku? In the future timeline, Goku is dead. So who would have been the one to help Gohan become a Super Saiyan, and when did he do it? Today on this video, we're going to delve into this Dragon Ball mystery and dig it out. Like an archaeologist, examine it and come to a conclusion about the mysterious story of future Gohan and how he even got to the level that he got to if everybody else was dead. Let's discuss. Remember the awesome 1977 original Star Wars poster? Well, I thought, wouldn't that be awesome if we have a Dragon Ball version? So I made it. Brand new merch to the Geekdom 101 store. The Future Trunks Hope of the Future merch line. This is one of the most beautiful pieces of art we've ever had here. And now you can get it on a poster, on a shirt, on a hoodie. I love it. Future Trunks with the Spirit Sword trying to save the future. I've done merch for so many different Dragon Ball characters, all of people's favorites, but not Trunks until today. The link is in the description for a limited time. Do not miss out on this one. Both the anime and the manga versions of Dragon Ball, and of course the anime Z, neither one of them give us an actual depiction, explanation, date of when future Gohan became Super Saiyan. But one of the things you have to remember is that present Gohan did it by channeling his anger and using his anger to tap into his rage to basically multiply his ki inside of himself and trigger the transformation. That's how it happened in the present time. I've done a whole transformation guide about all this. This is nothing new. Most of you guys already know this, and if you don't, check out that video for a thorough explanation. Now, that was because Goku was kind of teaching Gohan how to do it. Now, in the future timeline, Goku is dead. Now, the logical explanation on the surface is that maybe Goku was talking to Gohan from beyond the grave because he was with Kai-Osama, King Kai, putting his arm on his shoulder and was able to speak to Gohan and give him instructions. And while that would be the most logical explanation for all of this, that is likely not what happened. And we know this because Goku, despite being able to contact his friends and family from beyond the grave, never did so at any point in any depiction of the future timeline, whether we're talking about Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super during the Goku Black arc when we revisited the future timeline. Goku never gets involved. Now, if I'm being honest with you, on its own, this actually is a narrative problem. Goku never getting involved even verbally to instruct the Earthlings on what to do against the androids, to me, that is an issue and a writing issue and one of the bigger logical holes in the Cell Saga, but that's a video for another day. We'll talk more about that in that video. I can go into more detail. But nevertheless, because Goku's never been involved at all, based on anything we know about, based on any data, we don't see him, any anime or manga, that means that Gohan in the future timeline would have had to have discovered Super Saiyan likely on his own. The best resource to look at when it comes to figuring this out is, of course, the best resource to look at when it comes to figuring anything about future Gohan out, and that is his appearance in the History of Trunks special, whether we're talking about the anime TV special or the manga bonus chapter that Toriyama wrote back in the 90s called The Story of Trunks. That is what was adapted into the anime. Now remember, the manga version does differ because in the manga version, when we see Trunks and Gohan in the future training, they're already Super Saiyans, both of them. But in the anime version, Trunks is not and does not trigger his Super Saiyan until he sees Gohan dead in one of the most epic scenes in the entire series. It's a great scene, very sad but very powerful. It's great. Now, that would imply that at least in the manga version, Gohan, by the time that these events happened, which is roughly around age 780 or so, Gohan already had the Super Saiyan thing figured out to the point where it wasn't just an accident, he taught Trunks. The anime version is different, but I want to look at the manga version because that to me is the most interesting aspect of Future Gohan, that he figured it out without Goku. And you could even make the argument that even the anime version of Future Gohan also did it, but never really passed on that knowledge to Trunks. Or maybe Trunks did it off screen and Gohan didn't even witness it. Again, there's a lot of mystery here that's never been explained. But if we actually entertain the idea that Gohan knew what he was doing, how did he know? That's really the question. And I think it has to do with the fact that Gohan was there and witnessed Goku becoming a Super Saiyan on Namek in front of Frieza. He was there, so he had to have known and been able to piece together some of the aspects that Goku went through to find that transformation. But one thing that we know for certain, based on Toyotaro, the current Dragon Ball Super manga writer, is that it wasn't during the fight in the future timeline with 17 and 18. Toyotaro drew a bonus chapter for Dragon Ball Super where we saw sort of like a deleted scene type of situation, and we witnessed more context for that losing battle that the heroes had with the androids in the future timeline when Goku was already dead due to the heart virus. And Trunks talks about this a little bit in the manga where he says that everybody died and Gohan barely made it out alive. So that tells me that at that point, when Gohan was a kid and the android showed up, he still could not become a Super Saiyan, which matches up with what happened in the anime and in the main timeline, because when 19 and 20 showed up, and then later 17, 18, and 16 showed up, at that point, Gohan still couldn't become a Super Saiyan. He had to go into the Room of Spirit and Time with Goku to figure it out after they were already awoken, and right around the time that Cell made his debut. So that would be after. So we're pinpointing now that Gohan had to have become a Super Saiyan after the battle with the androids in the future when everybody was wiped out. Now, something that you have to keep in mind, folks, is that in the future timeline, because they did not know the androids were coming, it is very likely that Gohan did not train after the Frieza saga. I mean, let's be honest, he has a history of this. So that means that the Gohan in the Android Saga is stronger than the Gohan that fought the androids in the future timeline. So that means there's even more time that he needs to transform into a Super Saiyan. So because he witnessed his father doing it on planet Namek, and because he obviously has rage boost and things like that, the most logical explanation is that Gohan learned Super Saiyan on his own and tapped into it almost by accident, kind of like what happened to Goten allegedly, when he was younger, because it's the only thing that makes any sense. With everybody else being dead, Trunks is much younger than Gohan, so he couldn't teach him. Obviously, Gohan did it first. And even though Goku is not there as a trainer, because Gohan has witnessed the form. In fact, when Vegeta went Super Saiyan, he wasn't there when it first happened, it was off screen when he first discovered the form. We saw that in the Dragon Ball Z episode where he confronted Android 19 and he told the story of how he discovered Super Saiyan training on his own. That's going to be something that Gohan would have to do. I will tell you that if you look at logically how this is panning out, there's no way that Gohan discovered the form while fighting the androids, because I feel like the androids would have already killed him by then. The androids killed him mercilessly in the History of Trunks special because they wanted to kill him. They had fun with him, but they wanted to kill him. So the idea that Gohan was fighting off the androids since he was a little kid, I don't think so. I think there was a time where he stepped away as far as combat went, and maybe the androids were already running amok at that point, went into hiding, and knew that he had no chance unless he discovered Super Saiyan. And even then, he didn't have a chance. So, to me, that's a wrap. Mystery solved using context clues that the series has given us and information that the artists and creators have given us. That is what happened with Gohan, and that's why Gohan is so much weaker in the future timeline than even Gohan in the past, because he never really learned and got that extra boost of training that he needed, even though he should have.